Hello and welcome to the Bald and Beardiful. I'm Bryce.
I'm Chris,
And I'm bald.
and I'm Beardiful.
So I don't know about you, but I had an interesting week
Oh yeah,
with doing some traveling, doing some. I made my first ever football parlay bet.
okay.
The dang Buccaneers didn't cover, but it was still fun. Had more faith in Brady and the Tampa Bay squad. I thought they would at least keep it closer than 10 points, but you live, learn, and we go forward from there.
I I was not all over Brady and squad. Like I wanted to see how they were gonna do new, like being in a new system, being like that they didn't get a whole lot of training camp. So I wasn't confident that they were gonna cover. Uh,
And the Saints are a tough team. They are definitely a tough team to go up against.
they're like the number one favorite team in the NFC. So like you really can't, you can't fault them for that. But at the same time, you know. I think that was a rough opener, definitely a rough opener for them. Regardless, even if they did get a full training camp or anything, right? Like
Yeah, they got some kinks to work out, but I think they could be a good team still.
oh yeah, they definitely have a chance. I'm not writing them off by any means. I'm just saying that like they got a rough like welcome to the season, right?
So speaking of welcome to the season, what about some of the upsets that happened? I can think of at least 3 games where you really thought it was going to go one way and then it completely switched over. And I'm not talking about Broncos and the Browns. No, I'm sorry, Baltimore and the Browns. There's another B name I was going for. Baltimore and the Browns. That was
I
completely
did not
one-sided.
expect that game to be such a blowout. Like I expected Baltimore to win. That's why I stayed away from it. I'm like, they're gonna like the Browns have way too many tools like at their disposal. I mean, there are a bunch of tools, but I mean, as far as
Careful, Mayfield may watch our podcast.
yeah, while he sits on the sideline with his Surface Pro,
Yeah,
pretending like he's viewing defensive schemes. He's watching our podcast instead.
they should have
Um,
done better, but there were a couple of ones that I really thought were going to go one way, and the fourth quarter or the second half just really destroyed it. Lions and Bears. Lions had it the entire way and let the Bears come back and win it. Bengals didn't have a huge lead, but they kept their own against the Chargers, but let it slip last minute. And Washington came to play. Apparently, Eagles were killing them by at least 2 possessions, and Eagles let them come back for some reason.
sacks. Carson Wentz was getting just laid out all game long, and that caught up to him for sure. Right,
Let's
and that's
let's
what it was. And they were out without Miles Sanders, and they were out without their right tackle. I think he's Pro Bowler, um, which we actually will talk about later in our other segment here.
something I will say is that Peterson did get a lot more playtime than I thought he would for Detroit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's their main back now.
well, because DeAndre Swift, dropping wide open passes in the end zone, costing the game. Like, I mean, he's a rookie. Like,
You gotta shake it off, shake off the jitters.
yeah, he's gotta shake it off as far as that goes, and just
Well, we need to shake off our week one, so we need to kind of look at what we did here.
all right. Well, before we get into week one, we have an honorable mention, right?
Oh, we do have an honorable mention. Completely
We do have an
forgot.
honorable mention. So, out of all the Bald and Beardiful,
We have the oldest
Papa,
bald and the
yeah, I was saying the
beautiful.
oldest Papa Bald and Beardiful. I don't know what we want to call him. Daddy Bald and Beardiful.
Whatever you do in your spare time. Team Dilly Dilly.
Yes.
In our Cover 5 team, our father comes in first place with 50.5 points.
54. It's 54.
Is it 54?
Yeah, give or take a point. I believe it was 54.
So he absolutely killed it. And we knew he was killing it, right after the Baltimore game because he had Baltimore. 54.5, you are correct. And so props to him. He definitely gets an honorable mention. He was 50-50 on joining us on this podcast today, but apparently is pulling some babysitting duty for the grandkids. So, but still had to give him a shout out.
For sure. But, like, I mean, considering I don't think he placed in the last 2 seasons that he's played, like, to come out with a week 1 win to free roll for the rest of the season is pretty epic. But it's a fluke. It's a fluke for sure. Oh, no. Already with the internet issues. Is he back? Amateur hour with the internet.
That you could hear me the entire time.
Nope, I can't hear you.
Your internet's unstable.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, since you have unstable internet, let's get into our week 1 recap here.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. We're going to the week 1 recap.
Yeah, I could hear you the whole time. I was speaking to you and thought you were just speaking over me. It was ridiculous until you say, "Oh, there he goes!" Like, internet. I was saying, yes, he did well. I think he got top 5 at least once or twice last season. But yes, we can get into our recap and how maybe we can possibly do better. And honestly, I'm disappointed that neither one of us chose Baltimore last week. I mean, like you said, like we knew they were going to win, but yeah, I mean, technically, Cleveland did beat them last season when they were doing great. So games can go either way. Talk about my picks real quick before my internet goes out again. It's going to be the ongoing joke of this season. New England, I knew they were going to win. I was hoping for a higher margin, but overall, I can't be upset with how they did. Miami holding their own against New England, keeping it to 10 points, not too bad. Detroit, I had high hopes. They were my leading team at the half when I was watching these games. I was thinking, great, I'm going to get 15 points out of Detroit. And they must have heard me because they let Chicago come back. Las Vegas and Carolina, 2 very tough teams. I was hoping for more out of Las Vegas. At this point, I'm just glad they didn't lose. Seattle, I got to stop betting against them. That one hurt. That was
a lot of people were on Atlanta at home, like being that.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Well, yeah, but I said you had a lot of experts, a lot of people like were all over Atlanta with being at home and some of the question marks for Seattle. But I just think you can't, like, that one is Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, just them teaming up and being able to really deliver, right? That's really what it is. Yeah. That's what you're competing with.
And I definitely am happy with my Arizona pick. That one I knew, and again, I said it in the last podcast, and I'll say it again. I kind of took that one off of your suggestion of these two are rivals. They're in the same conference, but for some reason, whenever they go up against each other in the other's home stadium, they always beat them at their home stadium. And being with a gigantic cover of -7, them pulling out a win was just brought me back from the brink there. Like, it could have been so much worse. I could have been you. I could have been you this week.
Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't take my own advice.
Yeah, I ended up with a -2.5 this week, but positive numbers next week. Let's talk about your failures. Your first positive one was New England and Miami, just like me. Go ahead.
All right, yeah. Either way, I don't know what malfunction Minnesota had. Like, this is not how I saw this game going at all. It's not how a lot of people saw this game going at all. But no, Aaron Rodgers back to form, right? And but I did say it, right? Who does Aaron Rodgers really have to throw to other than Davante Adams? And he made it rain for Davante Adams. Hellfire. Davante's Inferno in balls, man. Like,
he also found a lizard.
Lazard, yeah, Lazard too. But that was late. That was late. But Davante Adams had 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, just airing it out for Davante Adams, and they didn't have an answer. And I really and that opened up the run game where they kept the drives going with the run and just punished them deep.
From what I'm seeing here, he had 14 receptions, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. For fantasy points, that's 27.6 for non PPR.
But either way, good to see Aaron Rodgers return to form. Like he is an honorary fraternity brother of mine, so not from my chapter, obviously, but like in Wisconsin there. So good for him.
Let's talk about your biggest mistake.
The biggest mistake, yes, was trusting that the Colts are anything but the Colts, right? Like, I don't think it really matters at this point what the Colts have as far as talent or what they look like on paper. They're still the Colts, and they prove that. They honestly, looking at this, I think I was just overly optimistic with it, and I really should have looked at them and be like, they're the Colts.
Sounds like everyone else talking about the Browns last season.
And also, you know what? I went against the mustache, and that's my fault. That is my fault. Gardner Minshew, I want to apologize. I'm sure you're a fan of our podcast. Please like and subscribe.
The like button and the Facebook page. Anyway.
Yes. So never again. I'm not going against the mustache unless they're playing like Kansas City.
Or Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a good point too. All right, and then Buffalo, I was against Cowherd on this one. Like, this was part of his Blazing Five. He was all over the Jets.
Technically, you got the better half of that one.
I did. I did. So, taking Buffalo, saw what I expected out of Josh Allen, also on my fantasy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you did well. I think you were second overall in our fantasy this week.
Yeah, took a win, and I took second overall in points. I didn't quite have a perfect lineup. Actually, if I had put in the perfect lineup as far as what I had on my roster, I would have had the top score for the week.
Yeah, I'm so glad I did not do that trade. That would have been the dumbest move that I ever made.
Not really.
To give you an extra 30 points is what it would have done.
No, it wouldn't have, because you have to, because of what the trade would have been. Honestly, if you switch it up for someone else that got 10 points, you would have extra 20, whatever. You would have a made team for the season. And I still have a made team for the season. I don't.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, let's get through this. Let's get through Tennessee and Denver.
And the last one, as far as, so this really fell to Tennessee just didn't deliver. Denver did exactly what I expected Denver to do. Denver's on par with doing Denver things, right? And with the talent that they're missing, because they were without Cortland Sutton, they're without Von Miller. That's just what it is. But Tennessee just did not put up the offense that I was expecting, that I saw out of this game, and not really what I expected out of Derrick Henry, really. I expected Derrick Henry to kind of carry this game for me. But overall, not the end of the world, but definitely the worst of the two scores. In the end, basically, if I picked almost anything else except for Indy, right? I would have been okay. It's really what it would have been, except for if I picked the Browns, but I was never picking the Browns. There's no chance I was picking the Browns.
Denver having such a handicap, and they did do well, and it kind of, if they had won, it would have made, this analogy would have made more sense, but it kind of reminds me of a couple years ago when the Patriots were out. They were out Brady, they were out Gronkowski, they were out Edelman. Didn't matter. They still came in and whipped on somebody. I don't remember who it was. They won that game.
Probably Miami.
It wasn't Miami.
It was probably Miami.
Anyway, but because you lost with a negative 17.5.
Hold on, we're not getting there yet.
Not getting there yet?
Wow, because you're trying to get into the side bet, right?
I am.
All right, not yet. We're not there yet.
Where are we at then?
So where are we at? We are our comparison to Mr. Colin Cowherd himself with his Blazing Five, right? He puts out every week his Blazing Five, which is betting, because he likes to bet spreads and things like that. He's not necessarily competing for points. He's just looking to be able to beat the spread. That's what he puts out there, right? His thoughts on teams that he feels will beat the spread, and from a betting perspective, right?
So we're taking his teams and seeing how he would have done in our league.
How he would have done in our league, and in comparison to us, right?
So
his picks were Baltimore.
Okay.
So he would have had 24 points out of Baltimore.
Yeah.
He did pick the Jets, so I was opposite with him on that one, right? So he got -3.5 for the Jets. He was with you. He was on Atlanta, right? So he got -11 for Atlanta, right? He was opposite you on Carolina. So he took Carolina against Las Vegas.
He took a point.
He took a point. And then he was on the Rams against
No,
the
wait,
Cowboys.
no, he was a minus point. Sorry.
He -1. And then he took the Rams against the Cowboys where he got 6 points. So overall, his point total would have been 14.5. So he beat us both in week 1. But that does not even put him.
But because he picked Baltimore, basically.
But yeah, basically because he picked Baltimore. But like we were saying before, like in the top 5, like our number 1 overall points are 54, right? So he's not as far as like picks, as far as from a league competition perspective, he would not be a top 5 winner.
He didn't luck out like our dad did. I get it.
All right, so now we can go about now. If you want to go ahead and take us into
the side bet is I won.
What?
So the side bet was determined that whoever won this week would determine the overall punishment for the season. Whoever has the less score, Chris, and whoever had the less score. So since I won this week, that we go with my side bet, which seems a little more tolerable to whoever does lose, which we will do the Hot Wings challenge from Now We Feast or Hot Wings. And I kind of want to do it their style, though, where whoever, like the loser eats the wings, but the winner has to ask them the 5 questions and eat the 5 wings.
All right, I'm good with answering the 5 questions, but let's make a deal that the 5 questions can't be like stupid questions. Like they have to be like, some somewhat legitimate questions. Like they could be funny questions, but somewhat legitimate questions that we can have a conversation around.
It'll be informative about the backstory of whomever it is. Like we'll make it fun because you got to make sure that they're having fun while they're suffering. So it's going to be good. Yeah. So so then we're gonna do another side bet for this week. It was kind of last minute, but we just want to make it fun for ourselves. Winner or loser of this week will be painting and glittering up his beard for the next podcast. So you'll get to see all of our one or both of our beards if we tie. I think if we tie, we should both have to do it because what are the odds? And they'll be nice and shiny and glittery. I don't care what color. I wish you would make yours pink because it would go so well with your blue jersey. But
is it breast cancer? No, next month is breast cancer awareness month.
Yeah, so we're not quite.
So you're a little premature.
Yeah,
that's pretty typical. It's par for the course. We could do something. Actually, we should do that.
You're just admitting to being my bottom. I don't know what you're.
How the hell? What? No,
anyway. Not
even close. That doesn't even make sense.
What were you trying to say?
Make no sense. If I wanted to have nonsensical conversations, I would speak to my wife. She's not watching this anyway.
She doesn't watch. That's the only reason why you can say this. That's what I was thinking. We're gonna put this on because she doesn't watch this, and she.
No, it's actually. Even she'd understand because she autocorrects like her text messages. So she's notorious for having just wildly inaccurate text messages, but she does the same thing on like Google Hangouts. Like we'll message each other in Google Hangouts, and she does the same thing where I don't know if she has some sort of autocorrect plugin or something like that going on, but she sends messages, and I'm just I don't know what you're talking about. And she does it to other people too. It's not just me. So it's an ongoing joke still. But
anyway,
I digress.
So the beard painting for next week from next week's loser.
Oh yeah. So what I was gonna say is we should definitely we don't have to discover it now, but we should do a pink related breast cancer awareness side bet in the month of October.
Why don't we just do one where we both have pink beards for one episode and just have that our breast cancer awareness episode?
No, I like doing it as a bet. It's a little more exciting. It's not as exciting. It's anticlimactic, but we just do it.
All right.
I mean, I'll wear I'll wear a ribbon or something like that, or
the beard because you're gonna end up losing that bet anyway.
Yeah, no. No, you get one. Usually get one, and the first one out the gate is usually I overthink it, which I think I did. I overthink what's going on because I'm so excited, and I'm so researched between football starting, and then fantasy. Like I've done a ton of research, and I'm just overthinking my picks, and then I end up like I said, looking at a team that like just by the numbers on paper ends up kind of screwing me over, like Indy did, right?
So take note. You can overstudy. So let's get into how much you overthunk this week.
No, I don't know. That's the whole point. I learned my lesson.
We're gonna find out.
All right. So you want to go ahead and lead us off?
Sure, why not? Jacksonville over Tennessee. Going with the mustache.
I think
Tennessee.
that's brave. Even going with the mustache, like you said. Like I'm not saying go get the mustache, but
Jacksonville just came off a win against the Colts. Tennessee barely beat Denver, and it's a -9 spread. I'm not saying it's gonna. At this point, I'm just hoping that Jacksonville can keep up with them, because then if they do, if it's a 2-point game, that's still 7 points at a minimum. And by God, if they win, hopefully, they just destroy Tennessee somehow. And I mean, so home game advantage isn't even a thing right now for some reason.
Well, it's because there's no fans.
I know.
I totally forgot to account for that too, because I was looking at home field, 3 points, blah blah blah. Like at home,
12th man. Nope, no.
It doesn't. No, it literally doesn't matter. So actually, that's going to make a difference for Seattle at home. Seattle's still a super solid team that's going to rack up some wins, right?
In case you couldn't tell.
But yeah, you're not going to have the 12th man. You're not like that. Same thing in Minnesota, right? Minnesota has one of the loudest stadiums, and that's not going to matter this season because there's no fans, right? Same with the Cardinals too. I think that makes a difference for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have one of the top like false start records for their stadium too. That makes a difference.
Last I saw that for like since they started the countdown, I don't know when it was, but yeah, they're up to like 125, 26.
Yeah.
So that's last one I saw. It could be one of the 150s by now.
I don't know. But anyway, but still, yeah.
Anyway, but I'm taking Jacksonville. It's a big spread. They're not a bad team. Their running back's doing well. Minshew's doing all right. I think they can hold their own. Defense, I'm not sure. Pittsburgh at home against Denver. Ben looking good. Him and Juju doing well. I know Connor's out this week, or at least has a sprained ankle. I don't know if he's going to be out, but Schnell was doing pretty well. Their defense is on point. I think they can hold Denver. Miami, I'm taking this just because they held their own against the Patriots, and it's a decent spread that I think they could pull off a win over Buffalo. It'd be interesting to see, at least.
My only thing about that game that I'm going to mention, not that I should be helping you in any manner, because to get the win, is there's expected to be inclement weather, potentially. There's like a 40% chance of inclement weather in Miami. And I believe Jordan Howard's going to be out with a hamstring injury too. Not that he's like a big, but like that limits their backfield. I'm not saying that he's going to make or break the game, but that limits the abilities in their backfield. That's all I'm saying.
Well, assuming the weather is a factor and it's not a high-scoring game in general, then it could help me out since I picked the -5 portion. Dallas. So I picked your team. I picked my team. I like Dallas over Atlanta, especially at home. I think they're not traveling far. Of course, there's no home field advantage, but they have similar weapons, I think, to Seahawks, and I think Dallas can pull out a good win. New coach is doing well, I think. It was so weird seeing the old coach for the Giants. I was looking like, which game am I watching? So that was fun. Las Vegas, I don't think they're going to lose by more than 6 if they lose at all. I know New Orleans has a good team. I think that they can go toe-to-toe and at least get 6 points. I'm not saying Los Angeles can necessarily win, but I don't think they're going to lose by more than a touchdown.
Okay. All right, so it's time to turn your head and go off. That's not going to get old. That's not going to get old.
Up to you.
All right. So first so my only underdog pick, right? You went underdog heavy this week. I went underdog light. Well, you went 3, so 2/3, right?
Or 3/5.
Whatever. Anyway.
Math. Anyway, Carolina.
Taking Carolina at Tampa. I'm just keeping it simple. I think that that point spread is just too big, right? Like, I'm not necessarily expecting it to be a blowout, but I don't see Tampa as that big as almost a double-digit favorite. Carolina barely lost to Las Vegas, and I think Las Vegas is a better team than Tampa. I think that they still have some kinks to work out. I don't think that they're necessarily firing on all cylinders. Chris Godwin is under a concussion protocol. Not to say that he's not going to play, but he's under a concussion protocol. Even so, like, that's still going to, even if you got your bell rung a little bit, not necessarily a concussion, that's still something like I think they're going to be mindful of. So I think that affects things. With that, I know there's like question marks on Carolina as far as Carolina's defense, but I think their offense can keep up with the production that Tampa's doing. So that's really the point spread just stuck out to me, and I just, like I said, there's a lot of upside with that pick, because if they do end up winning outright, or even if they win by a field goal, let's say they manage to go down and like kick a last minute field goal to win it, you know what I mean? Like that's still a solid turnout, right?
Yep. What about the Rams there?
Looking at the Rams, they looked good against the Cowboys. They did really well on offense, and their defensive pass rush was legit, for sure. And so, yes, it looks like Philly is going to get Miles Sanders back, and their right tackle, I think it's Johnson or whatever, is gonna be back. But I still don't think I think the pass rush of Los Angeles is going to get to Wentz, and that's gonna break up a lot of things, and really give them some fits. And also,
so Philadelphia's rookie tight end did really well last week too.
Rookie?
The tight end. I'm talking about Ertz and the new tight end. He's the new tight end was doing pretty well. So Wentz has some targets.
Goddard's not a rookie.
I thought he was a rookie.
No, he was there. He was there at least last season. I want to say this is like his third year.
Oh, then I think I misheard announcer wrong. Then that's my bad.
They might have been talking about Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor is their rookie.
Anyway, San Francisco.
So even with injuries, because it looks like Kittle might be out, New York, Le'Veon Bell got put on IR this week, so he's out for at least a couple weeks. So that means they have no Le'Veon Bell. They're going to be starting Frank Gore. Not to say that Frank Gore, the immortal, right? But he's not, he's not anything that the San Francisco defense can't handle, right? Sam Darnold did not look good, just not making the connections that he should. And then there's a rumor that they're shopping him around for some reason. Not sure why if they're just giving up on the season already, and then they're looking to try and get is it Trevor Lawrence for the QB that's going to hit the draft this year.
Not sure.
Their only real receiving threat is Jamison Crowder. Not that he didn't get involved, but like we have a single receiving threat that is not like I said, similar to it's going to be a similar situation to what Green Bay has, but Jamison Crowder is not Devontae Adams, right? And Sam Darnold is not Aaron Rodgers. So that's really what I'm looking at. And Gase there as their coach. I think I'm going to take the 1.5. That's a slam dunk. You might as well just give me some free points as far as I'm concerned.
All right, Green Bay, Detroit.
Or not 1.5. Sorry, the 1.5 is Philly -7, but I think that is still doable. That the 1.5 at LA, I said this might as well be 3 points from LA. But as far as the -7, I think they'll be good even with Kittle being out. Yeah, the receiving core is kind of beat up, but they have good options, and as far as from a running perspective, most of it looks pretty good. Tevin Coleman's looking good, and it looks like they're mixing in Jerick McKinnick in the receiving game. So, and Jerick McKinnick has that like top end speed that he can just break one off, right, in space. So I think that the overall, like even with some missing elements to San Francisco, I think there's more missing elements to New York. And that's where I think I'll take that -7 there. Green Bay -6, right? We're taking I think Aaron Rodgers was looking like his former self. He has a grudge against Detroit, and they're at home, Like, I mean, even though there's not necessarily home field advantage, I'm just saying Detroit is going to have to travel, right? And we don't know if they're going to get Galladay back. So, and even if they do get Galladay back, I don't think they're going to want to risk losing him for more than the season. So, I think he'll see some limited targets. And I think that Green Bay is just going to really, really tack it on more so than what Chicago was capable of doing. I think Green Bay is by far more capable. I expect more of the same from Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That's where that pick comes from.
I would agree. I think that's a good pick.
And then Arizona at home against the Washington football team. I actually am surprised.
Yeah, so don't know if I agree with you there, but go ahead.
The footballers. I just think that the win over Philly was a little bit of a fluke. I think they were playing a Philly team without Miles Sanders, without the starting right tackle. You had some injuries on as far as receiving, and they were able to shut down the run game for Philly, which gave them the ability to get to Carson Wentz. I don't see that happening with Arizona. I'm not saying that they won't limit the run game, but I'm looking at the overall, like, what Arizona has on offense and what Arizona is capable of on defense. I think that they're definitely a better team than Philly. And then we'll put it this way: they're a better team than the Philly that was on the field in week 1. So I don't see why Arizona doesn't come away with a win on this one.
Time will indeed tell. If Washington has a similar game like they did against Philly, I think that they could at least keep within the spread and give you some negative points. But that's just my own theory. Let's. I think we're ready for some big news.
Some big news of the week. All right, so it's time to show our ugly mugs again. With that, so. Big news of the week. We're really talking injuries. There's no trades. There's no really big anything else outside of that, right? So we already talked about Le'Veon Bell going on IR. James Conner is injured. He's going to miss this week. I'm pretty sure he is for sure going to miss this week. Michael Thomas has a high ankle sprain, I believe, is what they said. So he's likely to miss this week as well. For New Orleans. You have it's Jordan Howard in Miami, also injured. All right, having a hammy. We talked about Godwin with the concussion protocols, so that's injury-esque, if you will. From there, who else did we lose? Kittle. Kittle has an injury, so those are big. A lot of injuries early on. I think that stems from not having a full training camp and not having preseason.
So I'm looking at a couple of I'm looking at the NFL injury roster, and it goes by team. I'm not going to name them all, but Arizona's got some questionables. I'm mainly going to focus on the outs. A couple of questionables: Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo. Carolina's got 3. Cincinnati has a safety, defensive, and 2 defensive tackles that are ruled out for at least for the next game. Cleveland has a couple of cornerbacks and a couple of linebackers that are out.
Oh, that reminds me too. There's a rumor that they're shopping around Odell Beckham.
I hope so, because he's not performing like he should for them. He should have been giving them a much better performance, at least from my fantasy standpoint. Broncos have a cornerback out. A lot of questionables.
Cortland Sutton still out?
He's questionable. I have it here.
So maybe
a lot of questionable for Detroit. For Packers, there's only a guard that's out. Texans questionable. Mack for Colts is on injury reserve.
Back from the rewind. Oh yeah, we almost forgot about that one. But as far as on, not that it's a big injury, but I think it's something to be said. Is Duke Johnson? Duke Johnson's going to be out for a little bit for the Texans. He's the backup to David Johnson, but
from what I have here, it says Johnson ankle is participating in Wednesday's practice. So he's at least questionable. I don't know about.
I mean, Yeah, they may have upgraded his status. He might be doing better, but he went out in like the second quarter, like, and never returned. So that's never a good sign. And considering he's a backup, but I don't think they're not going to rush him back. So not that he's relevant though, because that if he really can't come in to be like that change of pace back and give David Johnson a rest, that's significant.
Kansas City's got like 3 people questionable.
Okay, so sorry, I talked over Marlon Mack. Go back to Marlon Mack being out for the season with a blown Achilles.
Yep, he injured his Achilles. So Hines and I don't remember the other
Jonathan Taylor.
Taylor. Yeah. So they're gonna get a lot of runs. Jacksonville's got a couple of questionables. Kansas City, a couple of questionables. Raiders, a couple of questionables. Chargers, Rams, Dolphins, nothing notable. Vikings, Patriots, nobody. Saints, Giants, Jets, 1 out. Joe of Flacco. Really, Flacco's out. For the Joe, why is Joe Flacco really a Jet now?
Yeah, he's a backup.
Yeah, obviously, I didn't know he was there. Eagles, couple of questionable. Steelers have Zach Banner. He went out with an injury during the game, so he'll be out. San Francisco questionables. Seahawks, Buccaneers. We mentioned. Then Titans and Washington. So I think that's it for as far as major injuries. Everyone else is, hurt hip here, hurt leg there. Concussion protocols. Of course, you got to take injuries seriously. These are your players. These are the people that put on a good show for the rest of us. The people we bet on. So hope they all get well. Hope we can get a good game out of everyone, because in the end, it's all about cover 5.
One other thing we should mention, it's significant, and it is a part of like the current goings on. No new players were added to the COVID-19 list as testing positive for COVID-19 for the week.
All masks are still required.
I mean, whatever.
No, someone mentioned it the other day, and it was probably a radio show. Like, of all this extensive things they have to go through in the NFL, like everyone in there has to be, I don't know if they have to be tested, but they're monitored, and all of this, they still have to wear masks inside the stadium around each other, even though everyone there is tested for, anyway, whatever. I don't know.
Who knows?
Again, I've said it to you, and I've said it to a few other people. At some point, it is not the government's job to control how we live our lives. It is their job to inform us what is going on, but it is overall our decision to live how we want. And that's just my personal belief. I understood the initial 2 weeks or month when they didn't want hospitals to be backed up. I understand that. We're well past that. They are equipped. We need to move on with our lives and continue making things better. I think all this is a distraction from real life problems, and one being that's not a problem, but the current election. People need to be focused on that, not whether or not they need to wear a mask to this restaurant or to. I went into a couple places today that didn't require a mask, but I have to wear a mask at work. I have to wear a mask at Walmart, but people walking all the time, they take it down anyway. So like, there's just no point to this anymore, and I'm over it. Anyway, that's my rant.
All right. Well, any bold predictions for the week? For week 2?
They're about to lose.
That's a bold prediction. That's not really a bold prediction.
It's a 50-50 shot. One of the game we didn't talk about, bold prediction, Thursday night game. We don't take it anymore because we've learned our lesson. But I think Browns can beat Cincinnati. And so that's my bold prediction is Browns come out on top.
I guess it's kind of a bold prediction.
I call it the Cleveland Steamer. The Browns are coming on top.
Wow. That's awful.
It is awful, but that's why it's funny. What about you? What's your idea of a bold prediction?
Bold prediction?
You're questioning it like you didn't just ask the question. Yes. Like
I'm gonna say Cam Newton is gonna have at least one rushing touchdown this week. That's my prediction. I don't know if that's necessarily a bold prediction, but it's something we don't typically see. I mean, obviously because it was Brady, right? But it's not something we saw out of the Patriots, right? The Patriots were not necessarily that, like, they didn't have that type of quarterback. That's not the type of system that they were at. And basically, like, kind of Cam Newton has turned into kind of a pseudo running back for them. So I think so my prediction, and you can say it's semi-bold, right? Semi-bold prediction. He's gonna have a rushing touchdown this week.
At least one.
At least one.
You do know that Brady last week had a rushing touchdown.
I do know that Brady had a rushing touchdown. Did I not send you that meme of that old man that playing, or it's a video of an old man playing flag football and everybody kind of runs out of the way to let him score, but it was like that was Brady scoring his rushing touchdown.
No, you didn't send me that one.
No, I should send it to you, but yeah, it's pretty funny, and that's basically what it was. That was like the highlight of Brady's like game though. Like he had a rushing touchdown and then nothing else. He threw 2 picks and then.
Well, he still threw another touchdown.
Yeah, he ran one in. He threw.
Hey, he still did better in fantasy points than Dak did.
Did he? No.
By 3. Dak had 17. Brady had 20. I know because they're both on my team.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
I'll double check it right now. 20.46 for Brady. Prescott. Hang on. Score. Prescott 17.6.
Okay.
By a solid 3.
Wow, it's that rushing touchdown. That's exactly what it is. Because if you take that rushing touchdown away.
Yeah, right? If you take points away, Dak wins. Absolutely. That's how that works.
Well, it's uncharacteristic of him, right? It's an uncharacteristic, play.
Yeah, no, Brady's definitely used to being well protected and throwing it away. But he's a quarterback. He's not meant to be a running back. And do you know how old Cam is? Because I know Brady's currently the oldest quarterback. Who's active.
Maybe I think he might be my age.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So he's like, he's in his 30s. I want to say maybe early 30s.
I'm doing a quick search, see if it would pop up, and he is 31.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. So I'm still a little older than Cam.
Yeah.
And not nearly as successful.
Yeah. Anyway, do we have anything else we need to cover? We ready to take this away?
No, I think that's it for this week, right?
Then I think it's time you take us out of here.
You're gonna take us out. All right. So
bringing up the PowerPoint so everyone can see where they need to email and
don't tell everybody it's a PowerPoint. They don't need to know that. They just know that we do some editing magic of some sort because we're our high quality videos.
Anyway.
All right. Until next week, ladies and germs, smash that like button as if you're voting for president, and that it counts just as much. Like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, The Bald and Beardiful, and then email us with all of your burning questions, like Bryce's gonorrhea, but I'm sure he cleared that up. The Bald and Beardiful at gmail.com.
Yeah, my jokes are bad. Anyway.
Until next time.
You're the older brother, so you obviously taught me how to do this. This is just a sad podcast. Anyway, yes, follow, subscribe, like, go team, all Barkley, no bite.
All right, bye guys.